Support for this video is brought to you by Manscaped. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code LJTV at manscaped.com.
I've got to talk about the acting. Sorry.
And here we are. Hold on. Here we are. We're live. I've got the Manscaped here, Lee. Well done. I've got to say, I'll tell you what, Hollywood judges. That's what I would say. Hollywood judges.
It was the spray and the little sniff. That was the
What's the big shape? Do you think I've got to do that or what? What do you reckon?
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Oh, very much. There you go.
Order. Let's get some order. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And listen, obviously, we've got a huge game coming up. Chatting with Campbell, with the main man Lee judges, Dan Potts, and a baller in her own right, Sophie Rico. How is everybody?
All good, Kev. All good. Happy to be here, mate. Happy to have Sophie on as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Listen,
thank you.
Sophie's a baller, and I've got to say this: if you check out the goal that she got, like, I'll be honest, like me and you, Kev, we've probably nicked a goal like that, but Dan can just dream about goals like that. So,
Thank you.
Banger. So, if you have not seen it, get on there and have a look at Sophie. Is it on your Instagram?
Let's hear from Sophie.
Yeah.
Sophie, what's your Instagram, or where can the people check it out?
Yeah, come on.
Thank you for the intro. I'm trying to say that I appreciate that. But yeah, it's Sophie Richo with a kiss on the end of it, and then Sophie Richo on Twitter. But yeah, that is on my Instagram. The video, if you want to see my goal, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, check it out.
Thank you.
And I believe you played for Wolves, and you're at Kidderminster Harriers now. Is that right?
That is true. Yeah, that is true. I was at Wolves since I was 8. I had a bit of a trade spell. I went to Baggies for a season, then went back to Wolves, and then I'll be at Kiddie now.
All part of the game. Sophie, all part of the game. All part of the game.
I'll tell you what, Soph. If you're looking for a new goal celebration, then the old deodorant spray and the smell is a nice.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh no!
Potsy, good comeback that one, Potsy.
I'm gonna do that.
Oh, give it some of that. All right. Listen, what we hope don't happen is Arsenal stink the place out on Thursday. But what I want to do is I want to start with Sophie, because obviously there's been a little bit of turmoil at Manchester United. Sophie, what's your thoughts on obviously Ole going and now Rangnick being named as the interim manager? What's your thoughts on all of that?
I think I don't really know what to expect, if I'm honest. I think obviously there's a lot of talk about Ralph and obviously his influence on the likes of Klopp and Tuchel. But obviously, none of the major clubs you'd say were after him. I would say the options, he was our best option as the interim. And I'm looking forward to, obviously, he's well experienced, like I say. He's worked with some of the best coaches in the world. And I think if it's an option between him and Carrick, I would go Rangnick all day long because of that experience. And I feel like we've seen us for so long now. We've not been pressing as a unit and whatnot. We've been played around, basically. And I think he, at least, will bring us some organisation and a way to press as a unit, if nothing else. I just think it can't get any worse, to be honest with you. I'm sad about Ollie. But look, it's the right decision. Of course it was. It just baffled me why we waited until after the international break to make that decision. But yeah, I think it's all up in the air, really. Don't really know what to expect. I'm hoping that we get that new manager bounce. We can go in and run of games and get some wins under our belt, and then hopefully push on from that and make a push for the top 4. That's where I think we should be looking this season now. But yeah, who knows? I think time will tell regarding him. I think the consultancy role is the more important one, to be honest, for Rangnick.
Right, yeah, to bring players in and develop.
Yeah.
Lee, we hope, obviously, if they're going to go on a run, go on it after Thursday.
Yeah.
Don't we, Lee and Dan? We hope they go on a run after Thursday. But I want to come to you, Lee. Looking at this Manchester United side and looking the way Arsenal are playing right now, what's your thoughts on Manchester United went to Chelsea and got a point? Maybe you could say it was fortuitous. Maybe you could say Chelsea were wasteful, but maybe you could also say that they were unlucky not to get 3 points. What's your thoughts on that, and what do you think is going to happen in this game, Lee?
Well, listen, let's not kid ourselves. I was hoping Ollie would still be at the wheel for this game. I have to say that. But after Watford game, there's just no way. There was no way. And totally agree with what Roy Keane was saying the other day. You know, I have to say, you know, they've let him down. I don't know why.
Yep.
They've got a reaction in the last couple of games since he's gone, which, you know, isn't good. Can they get a third one? We'll have to wait and see. But like, you know, the game against Chelsea, I think that I watched the game. I'm going to say it now. You know, Ronaldo is top class. There's no two ways about that. But they had more chance with Sancho and Rashford, what they were doing, because they got that little bit more pace and run and chasing down, which of course got the goal. And actually could have won. Well, should have won it when the goalkeeper decided to give Fred a free.
He knew he was passing that too. He knew he was passing that to Fred. That's all I can
maybe
say.
he's just like, he thought, it's only Fred, I'll throw it to him. Like, you know. The work rate of Man United. I watched the game against Watford. I thought, right, I'm going to watch this. I'm not. I'm no disrespect to Sophie because she's on it. It could have been 6 or 7 against Watford. They was all over the place. The work rate wasn't there. Go against Chelsea. The work rate was there. You know, there was a passion in their team. They worked really hard. I thought the two in midfield, McTominay and Fred, get a lot of criticism, but their work rate was tremendous in that game. So we're going to have to be right on it. We're going to have to be right on it on Thursday. And I'll tell you what, I've seen worse teams at Man United over the last couple of seasons, and we've gone there and not won. You know what I mean? Like, so it will be a very, very difficult game. You know, I honestly think that we've got a chance. But I'm going to say it now. If we come out with unbeaten after this game, I'll be, you know, if we get a draw, I'll be as happy as well because of the place that Manchester United is. And I don't care what anybody says about Manchester United, whether it's Ollie or not. They still have some top players in that football club, like, you know, from the front to the mid. Their midfield is probably not the Man United standards that they've had in the past, but it's still decent. You know what I mean? If I'll be honest. So, and you know, whether you love him or hate him, and I actually am a big fan of his, is Ronaldo. You know, you've got to he might be quiet for 89 minutes. You've got to keep him quiet for the whole game, and I think that we've got to cut out that supply of that. And if we do that, we've got a chance.
Right, Dan, what's your thoughts on it, Dan? Because obviously Lee made some really good points there, but you might have a different take.
So I think this game is actually not going to be so much focused on quality, but mentality. Because I look at the two sides and I think we all know they've got weaknesses in them, but they have got strengths. And I think they're actually polar opposites of each other. So I think United are definitely weaker at the back than us, but they're definitely stronger going forward than we are. And I think I'm with Lee in terms of Sancho and Rashford. Although Ronaldo has to play because it's Cristiano Ronaldo and the name speaks enough of it, the pace and power that Sancho and Rashford have is scary. Now, I actually feel that Rashford is probably quite an overrated player. I think he's a good player, but I think he's not one of these like exceptional talents that gets you 30 to 40 goals a season. But I think that with Sancho, if you get him ticking, we've all seen what he can do. So he deserves a chance. I thought it was really interesting that Carrick had made them changes, and obviously Rangnick, I think, is probably going to be in the background. So it might be that we look at some more changes, or it may be that was already his kind of decision. I think what's important is the midfield battle, because Fred's got to be the worst Brazilian since Andre Santos. I mean, this guy is a clown in the middle. So we have to look at dominating that, and Thomas Partey's the man to do that. We have to be defensively solid because of what I've just mentioned in terms of Sancho and Rashford, and it could be Greenwood or Ronaldo, whoever it's going to be. They're going to have some pace and power up top. But to be fair, we have been fairly defensively sound over the last few games. The problem we've got is we do have it in us to be quite leaky if we do crumble with a young side, because we've seen it happen against Man City, we've seen it happen against Liverpool. What we don't want is that to happen against Manchester United. My only concern, Kev, for this game is us going forward, because at the first half against Newcastle we were struggling. We turned it on in the second half, and we need to bring that second half performance to Old Trafford, not the first half, because we'll struggle if to break Manchester United down like we do with all of our teams if we play like that, because there's no creativity, there's no final killer ball, and there's no final killer finish. So that needs to be brought to a different level in terms of our progress at Old Trafford. I'm not worried about this game, but I'm not worried about this game any more than I would be about any other game, if that makes any sense, because this is Arsenal, and we all know that we can beat Manchester United like last season, but we also have had some terrible performances at Old Trafford. So where I am sitting right at this time is, how is the mentality of this new Manchester United team, because let's be honest, it is going to be a new team now under a different manager, and what's the mentality like of this young Arsenal side a year on going to Old Trafford, because this is going to be a different lineup, Kev, to the one that beat Manchester United 1-0 last season. So it's a mentality, it's a levels of mentality for me will win this game, in my opinion.
Right. So, Sophie, what's your thoughts on this Arsenal side? Because you see, defensively, as Lee and Dan said, defensively we are pretty good, and but as an attacking force, we're just not there. We're not there. Martinelli, obviously, Saka, who's not going to be playing probably, and Martinelli had to save us really against Newcastle. So, what's your thoughts on the Arsenal right now, and how you're going to attack us? Because you've got some wonderful, gifted forwards.
We have, and I'm just hoping, as you mentioned, that the mentality is there, because it hasn't been for a while at United. I'm hoping Ralph coming in, and I've already mentioned players wanting to impress for a new manager. I'm hoping that starts on Thursday, and I think we saw it against Chelsea. To be fair, we were more disciplined. You saw us pressing more as a unit, people working hard. And I know we've been slating Fred, but to be fair, I thought it was amazing against Chelsea, and I'm just hoping he can continue that form. But in terms of the Arsenal team, I mean, Aubameyang, I know he hasn't been scoring and he missed an absolute sitter at the weekend, but he's a player that we've always got to be wary of. His pace, especially up against the likes of Maguire, is something that really concerns me. Saka, you mentioned he won't be playing. Well, it's unlikely he'll be playing, but Martinelli's just scored a goal as well. You'd like to think he's going to be flying coming into this game and feeling confident as well. And obviously Emile Smith-Rowe, for me, the more I see him, the better he seems to get. I mean, his dribbling, to be fair, is one of the best I've seen, I think, this season. Like, he's driving run through that midfield, and I think that he can cause us, because he picks up those little pockets, and I think if we're not disciplined in the middle, he could definitely cause us some problems. So I think they're probably the main players. But in terms of, look, we've got Ronaldo. He's not going to outpace anyone, is he? It's all about the service into him. And I think that Arsenal are looking to cut out Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, he's not really hitting the heights that he did last season. But I said this on a show earlier. I feel like the second half of this season with a new manager, I feel like there's going to be a bounce back from Bruno Fernandes, because he's that kind of player. Like, he's a leader. I think that Arsenal would be cutting him out, because it's his service into Ronaldo that will be concerning, because he might not be the quickest, but his movement is really intelligent. And it'd be interesting to see how Gabriel and White get on against him.
Yeah.
Could I just bring in? Sorry, Kev.
Yeah, go on, Dan.
Sorry, Kev, because there's a real good super chat that I think Soph will be able to answer in terms of Ronaldo. So this is from A. Noonan. Thanks for your kind donation, much appreciated. Sophie, it says, following the Roy Keane and Jamie Carragher debate regarding Ronaldo, what is this British press agenda is the question. But Ronaldo has to start, he's saying, and I hope he does against the Arsenal. What's your opinion on this one? Do you think you're a better side with or without Ronaldo?
Where would we be without his goals this season? That's all I'm going to say. Where would we be? Like, I do not understand this. How is he the problem? Like, I don't understand it. Don't get me wrong. I know he doesn't press and whatnot, but look at the players we've got in our squad. You're not like Ronaldo is Ronaldo. You know for a fact. Lee said it earlier. You might be poor for 89 minutes, but if he gets half a chance, and he's going to make something of that. And it's just, you can't put a price on that. To be honest with you, I don't understand the claims that he's the problem. I don't get that. For me, like I say, without him this season, I dread to think where we would be. He's just so clinical in front of goal, and he just makes stuff happen. I mean, the Champions League would be out of it by now. He literally carried us through that group stage.
Dan, Ronaldo's a big game player, isn't he? He's a big game player. You can drop him against, the smaller teams, no problem. Let him rest. Mm-hmm. But in the big games, he's probably kept Ole in a job for 5, 6, 7 weeks. Let's be honest. Every time they came back from being behind, who was it? It was Ronaldo. Always Ronaldo. So for me, if he doesn't play in this game, I will be delighted. I can tell you that much.
He's playing. Surely he's playing.
No, Sophie, no. We want the same team that started against Chelsea. Lee, what's your thoughts on Ronaldo starting? Do you want him to start?
No, he's going to start though, because I think it was very clever of what they done it on Sunday for us, because he's 36 years of age. You cannot continue to play Saturday, Tuesday, Sunday, Saturday, Tuesday, what he has been doing. He needed to have a rest. And I think that game was where, let's be honest, Manchester United weren't going to have much percentage of the ball. So there's a lot of times they're going to be chasing and whatever. Like, so they thought, well, if that's the game to leave him out and rest him, that was the game. And I thought Man United, to be fair, and this is nothing against Ronaldo, were doing really, really well until he come on. And then, you know, I think they was 1-0 up when he come on. I'm not saying it was down to him, but I just think the way that they were playing and everything like that. And then, but when he comes up against us, you know, as Sophie said, you know, I was watching. I can't remember the team that was playing. It was they were low. It was 1-1 with a couple of seconds to go. He's volleyed one in, and they've won the group because of it. Like, do you know what I mean? In the Champions League,
He scored, didn't he? Scored against Villarreal.
He scored about
and
10
Villarreal,
goals. He scored about 10 goals so far. And for me, football has gone, you know, all about stats and things like that. But the most important thing about it is who scores the goals, you know, and he scores goals, and that's what he does. And if he doesn't score, then maybe there's a problem, you know, we ain't doing this and that. But 9 times out of 10, he bloody does score. You know what I mean? So, and listen, he's not the Ronaldo that I watched in the Champions League final against Juventus at Wales, in Wales that time when I was in awe of him. I actually watched him that day, and you know, the Messi and Ronaldo debate was put to bed for me. Like, you know what I mean? I've been thankful enough and lucky enough to watch them both live. Fantastic footballers, but Ronaldo wins it for me. And so it'd be interesting to see. And he's 36 years of age now, and he's still tearing. People turn around and go, "Oh, you can't do it in the Premiership." You know what I mean? But he's 36 and he's come back and doing it in the Premiership. You can't knock him for it. Like, you know?
Wasn't there like criticism about his sprints as well? And like someone produced some stats, and he'd sprinted just as much as the likes of like Kane and that this season, and all the top strikers in the league.
Yeah, see, I don't get it.
So
I don't understand this. I really don't get this. Because I know, like Lee says, he's 36, but you know, I know this because my body's a little bit similar to Cristiano Ronaldo's. We both
of course it is.
You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? And we look after ourselves. But nah, listen, he is. I'd play him every game. I don't care what anyone says. He is the best, one of the best players I've ever seen. You know, and I'm always been Messi ahead of Ronaldo. I always have. And it's hard to compare the two, to be fair, because different leagues and all that. But when people say no, Ronaldo's better, you can't sit there and argue because the both of them are just world class and have been for so many years now. So if your name's Messi or Ronaldo, I'm playing you every game if I'm the manager. I'm sorry, I am, because you're two of the best players I've ever seen. So Ronaldo will play, and trust me, he'll probably score against Arsenal because he used to like to do that quite a lot. So if he plays, it's worrying for us massively.
I think the one thing with Ronaldo, and you know, Sophie, Kevin, you might be able to want to answer this as well. I don't think there was any plan for him to come back to the football club. I honestly think that Manchester City, he was going to go Manchester City, and they couldn't have had that. So that, you know, and I think that's messed up the Sancho thing because he's obviously, and I think that put a little bit of pressure on Ollie what to do. I'm not, you know, it all had it in place. Always going to do this and do that. The opportunity to sign Ronaldo come along, you can't turn that down. You know what I mean? Like, especially when he's going to go to their main road. One over Manchester City. Because I'll tell you this now, if Ronaldo was in that Manchester City side, they would romp the league because he doesn't need to press and do whatever that. He just needs to bang the ball in the back of the net, and he can. But Manchester United are not quite at that level of Manchester City at this moment in time. I love the argument about you know, what did they get Ronaldo in for, titles and all that? It wasn't about getting in titles. It was about getting Ronaldo back to the football club. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a massive.
Beating City to it.
Yeah, and beating City to it. I think it was a massive. It may not be in the short term, but I think for the long run, I think it was the perfect fit because Manchester City would have gone on and maybe. I think. Can you imagine it? If Manchester City won the league and the Champions League this season with Ronaldo in it, like they could not
Ronaldo lifting it. No,
they could not let that happen.
I'm a fan of the Sky Sports pundits, but no, you're all right. So I'm a fan of the Sky Sports pundits, but I was with Roy Keane on this one. I didn't really understand what Carragher was on about because they've signed Ronaldo. Yeah, he might not be able to win you the league, but I don't actually believe if Manchester United, and I might be wrong here, so I don't think Man United fans thought they could win the league, if I'm honest with you, because they're not at that level yet, even with Ronaldo. And it's about getting Ronaldo back to the club. So I was with Roy Keane, to be honest, on that one.
Soph, can I just add to that? So, for the question is then, was Ronaldo bought in your eyes to get Ollie over the line on trophies? because Ollie's had a couple of opportunities and hasn't taken them. And really, I was saying, Soph, that he needs to win something, even if it's the League Cup. He's got to win something to prove that he can do it. What's your thoughts on that one?
I think there was an element to that. I also think, obviously, post the Super League and whatnot and the Glazers out protests that were happening at Old Trafford, I think it was a way of appeasing the fans as well. And we've been crying out now, and we still are for a proper CDM. Obviously, we're linked to Rice and players like that. And then Ronaldo coming in, you mentioned Sancho, but I also think that hindered that. I think the fact that Ronaldo came in, that meant we didn't then go in to get a CDM, and I think they were really paying the price for that. Cavani obviously signed a new extension as well, so I think it was pretty obvious Ronaldo wasn't in the plans. And then obviously this happened, and I do think it was a way of the Glazers as well, trying to appease the fans. Obviously bringing Ronaldo home romantically, it was just perfect. Stopping him from going to City as well, it's almost like, we haven't had bragging rights for a while, let's face it. So it's something that we've got over our rivals at the minute. And I just think it was just a way of just keeping the fans a bit quiet for a bit. I genuinely think it was a business idea. Obviously shirt sales, we know it's ridiculous, isn't it? Ronaldo's going to sell shirts and whatnot. And I think you noticed it. Yeah, you noticed, though, I mean, on Twitter and whatnot, you saw after the protests were massive. And when Ronaldo came in, all of a sudden it went a bit quiet. Do you know what I mean? And I think that it worked in that sense.
Yeah. Lee, I want to ask you, if Ronaldo isn't pressing, etc., then obviously we know what he does. He's a goal scorer. Can we say that about Olba?
Yeah, it's a little bit similar. I think, like, you know what I mean? I think that listen, they're not in the same bracket.
No, of course, we're not talking about.
I mean, we're not saying that.
Yeah.
But we're saying that.
Is Olba that for what Ronaldo is for Man United? Is Olba that for us?
Yeah, a little bit at the moment, like, you know, but with Ronaldo, he is scoring goals. You know, Aubameyang at this moment in time is not scoring as many as he should be. Like, you know, he should have scored on Saturday. My God, how has he missed that? Just again, a little bit of a confidence thing. I think a little bit of the thing with Aubameyang is you're asking him to do things that he's not confident in doing, and it's affecting him, like i.e. holding the ball up and things like that. But I think with Aubameyang, you know, I'm not comparing him with Ronaldo, but I'm going to say it, like, you know, he's got the record, good goal scoring record and everything like that. And there's always that little bit of hope that he's going to turn it back on, you know, hit that form again. Now, I'm going to be really honest. If Aubameyang hits the form of he does a couple of seasons ago and starts banging in goals left, right, and centre, Arsenal are going to be a real force to get into that top four space. That's a fact, you know what I mean? Like, but and I think a lot of that is relying on him. You know, when we won the cup and things like, if you can get that form back, Arsenal will be a real threat for top four. You know, as disarray, I think, and we're all going to agree with this now. I think in the disarray that Man United are at this moment in time, I still say they're favourites for fourth place. I think you'd still
with their
go
squad
with
and everything.
You still go.
With the players,
you know, they've got the Ronaldo factor. They've got. You know, I don't know. Again, you know, with the Ronaldo thing, I'm not having a criticism. I think that where Bruno Fernandes was the number one, I think that's taken a little bit off of him. I don't know if that's affected his game a little bit, like, you know, where he's now not the number one. And I'm not saying
Daddy's home, Lee. Daddy, the main man's home.
Yeah, no, mate. Sometimes, you know what it's like. You know, his nose from up bit. Not he won't admit it or whatever, but I think, you know, where all of a sudden, you know, you're the main guy, you're the go-to guy. All of a sudden now you're not the go-to guy. You know what I mean? Like,
I think, though, to be fair, I think Bruno's form, I'll be honest, I think that dipped before Ronaldo even was mentioned. Like, the end of last season, people were saying, like, he's dead on his feet. Do you know what I mean? I think, and obviously, there probably was a fatigue element, but his form wasn't good towards the end of last season as well. Like, I don't think he's played well for a while now.
I think with Bruno Fernandes, he changed Man United when he first. Man United
phenomenal.
Were a little bit like they are now. He come in and just transformed them, didn't he? Like, you know what I mean? He's just had a little dip and all of that, like, you know. So I don't know, you know what I mean? So that's a thing that you could think of it, you know, from that point of view. But at the end of the day, they've still got some their forward line, by the way, at Manchester United is fantastic, isn't it? It's got some
frightening, mate.
You know what I mean? Frightening. You've got Martial that don't really get a look in at this moment in time. I hear what Dan's saying about Rashford, but he's still a bloody good player. Sancho, you know, hasn't been going that well for him at the minute. But when he went through for that goal, you knew he was going to score.
That little shimmy, I loved it.
Yeah. You just knew he was
Yeah.
going to score. So that tells you he's a talent.
I didn't, to be fair. I'll be honest, I wasn't as confident as you, Lee, watching him and
Well,
Rashford running
maybe
through.
because you're a Man United fan. But as he went through, I said, you know,
Goal.
I was either
Yeah,
going to score back to Rashford.
I'm with Lee. I thought he'd
never
score
going to
as
mess
well.
that up. Never going to mess that up.
Dan, how do Arsenal beat this Man United side? Come on.
Take our chances, Kev, because we're going to get them. This Man United side can we see against Chelsea they can make mistakes. To be fair, both sides made mistakes actually, but I feel like we are going to get a chance to get in at their defence. And we talk about Aubameyang and the fact that he's question marks of whether he should be dropped because he's not on form and stuff. He ain't the only one who ain't scoring, by the way. It ain't always Aubameyang that has to score the goals because Lacazette's not scored. How many has he scored this season, Lacazette? So, and people will say, oh, well, it's not his job to score goals. Is it not? I thought it was.
He's
I thought
on
he
the
was a
pitch,
centre
it
forward.
is.
Yeah. I thought he was a centre forward as well. So it's not just about Aubameyang's missing. Now, I'd be having Aubameyang in just because he is a goal scorer and he does do this. This is not out of form for Aubameyang. This is what happens with Aubameyang. And he does always miss sitters like he did against
I think his
Newcastle.
work
I've
rate
seen
as
him
well,
do
though.
that before. Yeah,
Like, even
so
if he's not scoring, running the channels against the likes of Maguire, who you think will play, like that's a concern for me as a United fan because he's rapid. So yeah, they'll stress
100%.
us.
So he does not stop running Aubameyang this season, which is something I would say he's kind of improved upon this season, Kev, because sometimes he didn't do that, and he hadn't done it of late. So I do get the criticism because he hasn't been on fire, and I've been one to say that I've been a bit frustrated with him of the last couple of games. Watford he was poor, Liverpool nothing worked for him, and of course against Newcastle it was going a bit wrong for him. But when you look at everybody else around him, there's question marks also for Martin Odegaard, Lacazette, obviously Oba. You've got Saka and Smith Rowe that I think are starting to improve on their end product. And Martinelli was great coming on and scoring. It's something, as you know, KC, I've been crying out for Martinelli for a long time. So I was really happy when I see him come on and score. So how we beat this team is that we keep compact when we need to. We dominate the midfield and we take our chances because we will get them against Manchester United. Like Soph said about Maguire coming back, I don't know if that's a plus or a minus for a Man United fan, if I'm honest. Not really a huge lover of Harry Maguire personally. But I think at the back they have got mistakes in them. And Wan-Bissaka, by the way, I mean, I know people say that we've had some players that are a waste of money, and I'm totally with them. But £50 million, I don't understand this guy. He has no end product going forward. He's okay one-on-one defending, but there's a mistake in him. And I don't really think that he works well with his teammates at all from what I've seen. I mean, I see him against, was it Man City? He was absolutely abysmal. So, yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are there, Soph, but I think at the back, definitely, there's some weaknesses there personally. So that's how we beat them. We get at their defence and we take our chances.
Go on, Lee.
I'll let Lee
Go on,
first.
Lee.
He's got his hand up. It's his channel and he's putting his hand
Look,
up.
he's having a laugh.
I just said, look, listen, about Wan-Bissaka, I was desperate for Arsenal to sign him when I thought he was exactly what we needed. Come on.
Judges.
Oh no!
Come on.
I rated him very, very high. It's just not quite worked for him at Man United because I think there's more emphasis when he was at Crystal Palace not to go forward. You know what I mean? Just defend. You know what I mean? But
one-on-one defending, he's half decent.
I wanted him at Arsenal. I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? Who would I like to have? Out of Tommy and Wan-Bissaka, I'm going to go Tommy now. But I'm putting it out there. I wanted Wan-Bissaka at Arsenal.
I find him so frustrating as a United fan. I've got to be honest. Yeah, Old Trafford watching every time the ball goes out to the right back, you just hear the fans, everybody just exhale in the stadium because nothing's going to happen when it's on at Wan-Bissaka's feet. When he goes forward, I think he looks like he's on stilts. To be honest with you, he just looks so unnatural. And apparently, he used to be a winger, which I find baffling. He obviously is dropped back for a reason then. But look, 1v1 defending, you're right, it's quality, absolutely quality. But I think even when a ball's whipped in the box and at the back post, he's not very aware of the player in behind him. He gets caught out so often when it comes to that, where he's defending the back post. He just switches off. And it's just so frustrating. I think to be a right back for Manchester United, you're right, at Palace there's a lot less pressure on him. He was just having to defend and employ play like 5-yard passes and lead a counter attack. Whereas at United, you want him to make those driving runs, you want him to overlap, and he doesn't naturally do that. And it's just really frustrating because you feel like an imbalance in the side. I'm hoping Sancho coming down that right hand side, they can kind of form a relationship there. But yeah, it's just very frustrating. When we were linked to Trippier, I'll be honest, I was buzzing with that. I really hope we'd have signed him.
Lee, Sophie, how do Man United beat Arsenal with that defence?
I think the midfield battle is going to be a big one, if I'm honest. I think the midfield battle, obviously, with our defence, Maguire's an odd one. Don't get me wrong, it's been absolutely woeful. Woeful. I mean, celebrating like that against Albania and then getting sent off, you just couldn't write it, could you? But I think he's one of them where on his day, I think he can be absolutely quality. And at some point, you've got to feel his day will come. I'm just hoping that it's against Arsenal. If not, I think it's going to be a worrying night for us defensively. But I think that midfield battle, I think if McTominay and Fred, who you believe will play again, I think if them two turn up and battle like they did against Chelsea, because I thought they bossed the game and Matic, to be fair, against Chelsea, then I think we'll go on to win the game. But I do think that midfield is a big one. I've already mentioned Smith Rowe picking up them pockets. I think it's going to be an intriguing one. I think it's going to be a tight game, to be fair.
Lee, at the end of the day, mate, listen, if we can't have a go at that back four and expose it, because me particularly, I think Maguire and Luke Shaw have dipped because of the Euros.
Mm-hmm.
Of that England squad, there's only a few players who actually have excelled. I think Declan Rice is one of those guys.
Yeah.
So Lee, my question to you is, what front three or what would you do with Arsenal's team to expose that United defence? Would you go 2 up front, 3 up top? What would you do?
If it was me, I would probably go Aubameyang. I don't know. I've actually said Lacazette to go. The more I've talked about things, this is really weird because I'm thinking like, well, should we just keep it tight, get someone to hold the ball up? And now everybody's saying Manchester United's weak. Let's go for it. I don't know. If we're going to go for it, you go Aubameyang up top, Martinelli on the right, Smith Rowe on the left. But I think if you're going to play more of a cautious approach to it, I would go with Lacazette up top on his own so we can get some sort of platform and then hit him with pace on the flanks, i.e. that would be Smith Rowe and Aubameyang.
Right, okay. Dan, what would you do?
So I'll tell you what I would do, then I'll tell you what I think Arteta's going to do. So first of all, I would go with what has been working, which I think has been working, and that's Lacazette and Aubameyang together. Lacazette dropping in that kind of deeper role, and I think Martinelli and Smith Rowe, either side. That's what I think I would do. What I think Mikel Arteta's going to do, personally, is I feel he's going to go with Martin Ødegaard, and I think Martinelli's going to be benched and brought on again because I still feel that Mikel Arteta sees Martinelli as somebody you can bring on with half-hour legs now that he's seen that it kind of worked. I feel Martin Ødegaard's going to play instead of Bukayo Saka. I do feel potentially that Lacazette could come in as well.
What, play Ødegaard as a wide player?
Yeah, on the right. Yeah. So I think Martin Ødegaard may go on the right-hand side instead of Saka, and then it will be Lacazette.
That'd be a very negative move.
And listen, I might be wrong, and I hope I am. I hope he goes for Martinelli and goes for it, because I think, like KC said, I think we can get at this back line. I really do. And I think the best way to do that is to go with Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Lacazette and Aubameyang, because Lacazette and Smith Rowe like to be a little bit of a link-up play, and Lacazette is that kind of guy that it sticks to him. We need somebody to have it to stick to him. Oba isn't that guy. Saka is definitely going to be a miss in terms of a threat going forward. So for me, that's what I would do.
Where's all these Saka rumours coming from? Then I spoke to his brother, and his brother said he's fit. Well, I just want to know where.
I don't know.
I said because obviously he got a knock. That's why he had to come off. If he's fit, he plays. 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
If he's fit, he plays. I'm just thinking if he's not playing,
right,
what do we do?
It's just so at this moment in time, it's a rumour that he's not playing. Is that
it's the rumour because he came off? It's not even a it's a rumour because he came off. So I imagine he ain't going to play. But if you're saying that his brother said he's fit, then
I spoke to his brother on the day, and he said his brother said he'd be all right. But what I'm saying is about that. The only thing that I say about it is that when he got off, he didn't go straight down the tunnel. He sat on the bench. When the game finished, he walked around clapping all the fans. If you're injured, you go and with a big game like Man United, you're straight down the treatment table. So I don't think it's as serious as it is.
Sometimes, yeah, depending what it is, it might be a niggle. Sophie, what would you do with United's front boys? Who would you choose?
I think Sancho, he's got 2 and 2. I'd definitely start Sancho. Ronaldo centrally, and I think it'll be Rashford on the left as well. I think he'll go with that front three. obviously Cavani isn't going to be there. Greenwood, you'd like to think, will be on the bench. Hopefully he's over. Obviously had COVID, so hopefully he's fully recovered from that. But yeah, I'd start Ronaldo. I think he has to start, like you mentioned. He was rested against Chelsea. I fully expect him to come in on this one. Sancho is in form at the minute, and I think Rashford, even though he's very frustrating, I think his work rate and his pace as well is always going to be a concern for Arsenal on the counter attack, as it was against Chelsea.
Yeah, he is a threat. They do have threats, and they've got game changers on the bench, Lee.
Yeah, I don't think Man United will play set up the way they did against Chelsea. I think that that's why they left Ronaldo out, because they knew that they were going to the job of going to Chelsea was to frustrate them into on the break. You know what I mean? And my God, it nearly worked for them. You know what I mean? You got to rely a little bit of luck on that. Goalkeeper's got to play well. De Gea again made some good saves. So, but they're at home now. They're not going to play that way. They're going to be on the front foot. Yeah. And that, I would think so. Yeah, I'll be very safe. I'll be shocked if Man United drop off and let us try and dominate. And I don't think your fans will allow that anyway. Like, do you know what I mean? They might do because it's a new regime and all that. But if Ollie was playing that way, they'd be going nuts. You know what I mean? So I think they go. They will look at it. And this is no disrespect to Arsenal. They look at it and go, "This is, this ain't the Arsenal. There's a chance for us to get the 3 points here." I think that they're going to go for it. I think, and from our point of view, we're saying, "All right, we've got a chance to soak up a bit of pressure and hit you on the break because of our back four." So I think it's an intriguing matchup. But what I like about what I think Arsenal struggle on is that if a team comes and like Newcastle in that first half puts a bank of 11 or 10 in front of us, we find it very, very hard. I think when teams come at us like Leicester did and Tottenham and Aston Villa and teams like that, if they come at us, it could be working our advantage. So I'm not too fussed if they do come for us, you know what I mean, if I'll be honest, but you still got to respect it that they're going to. And with, as Sophie said, that front three is pretty potent, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And the same to Arsenal's. If Arsenal's front three is going to be good, you know what I mean? Arsenal's front three was good on paper against Liverpool, but if you play a system that we did, it's not going to be potent. So we've got to be a little bit more braver, a little bit more bolder in the way we play against Man United than we did Liverpool. And I'm going to tell you this now: if we get tanked on Thursday, I will be fuming. I don't want to see that. I want to see us put in a right.
I don't think it will. I can't. I think it's going to be tight. I think we're kind of
close.
Everything you described there with Arsenal, I think you're very similar to us in the sense that if a team comes at us, look at Leeds first game of the season, that suits us down to a T. But the blueprint's already there. If you're sitting against United and frustrate them, we struggle to break teams down. So I think that Arsenal, if you do that, we're going to struggle. And I think it's going to be one way. It's going to be a tight game. Maybe one goal between us, to be fair. But yeah, and I think the situation in our midfield, Matic obviously play against Chelsea. Can Matic play 2 games in such a short space of time at the age he's at as well? I think that's an interesting one.
Great point.
It'd be interesting to see if he goes for it and puts Donny in there, for example, or what's he going to do? I think that's an interesting one.
So, Sophie, I think Matic played because it was a defensive setup away from home. Yeah. I don't think United could afford to be as defensive at home. Fred, McTominay and Matic in the centre mid, that's not conducive to attacking football, is it?
No, it's playing it safe, isn't it?
Yeah. So, there might be a change. Somebody comes in ahead of them. Maybe Fernandes ahead of the two.
Yeah, I think Fernandes.
Yeah, I think so. I think you'll be a lot more potent at home. But, it might suit Arsenal down to the ground. Dan, what's your thoughts on the score? What do you see?
Okay, so I believe, and I'm gonna be optimistic with this player. I believe Aubameyang's gonna score. Mm-hmm. I believe Aubameyang's gonna score, but I also believe Cristiano Ronaldo is gonna score. So I've gone 1-1. I will be disappointed because I think United are there for the taking, but I won't leave thinking, "Oh my God, this has completely ruined our run," or this is completely ruined top 4 chances. Nothing like that, because we got to remember that although Man United are there for the taking, the mentality is that you go to Old Trafford and you struggle, and that does stick in players' minds. This isn't an easy place to breeze in the park, no matter who the opposition is. So I think then you've got to win at Goodison Park afterwards, but I will be okay with a draw as long as the results after make up for it. I'm going to go 1-1. I think both teams will cancel each other out.
Right. Sophie, what's your score prediction in this one?
I think it's going to be tight, as Dan said, but I think they'll just edge it. I'm hoping Ronaldo winner towards the end. That'll do me nicely. So I'm going to say 2-1 to United. I do think they'll concede, though. Yeah, 2-1. 2-1. Yeah.
Lee Judge is not happy with that, Soph. He's not happy with that. Listen, and it would just be typical Ronaldo, Lee, wouldn't it? To come up with a winner. It would be typical.
It would be. And I'm joking. It wouldn't surprise me if it was that night. Do you know what I mean? But I'm going to go for a positive 1-1. And I'm not saying a 1-1 because I think that we're going to lose. I think that the minimum I expect to get, I expect us to go up there and stay undefeated. I think that we're defensively good enough to be able to do that. I don't care what anybody says. Man United are still vulnerable because of, that it was only a week ago or just over a week ago that they got smashed by Watford. You know what I mean? Like, so there is flaws in those players at the moment for whatever reason. I don't know, but that I watched them against Tottenham, by the way, and well done for that, Sophie. Give them a good stuffing. And I thought, wow, they've changed. You know what I mean? And then for whatever reason, it's not happened. So listen, we've got a chance. We've got a chance, but listen, if we're 1-0 up with a minute to go. I'll be disappointed if we draw 1-1. But I think, it'll be a very, very tight game, intense game. 1-1. Let's get out of there and move on to after that. That's what I'm saying.
Move on to Goodison. I'm going 2-1. I'm going 2-1 Arsenal. I think.
Go on, Kev. I love you.
I honestly believe. Look, here's my reason why I think Arsenal are in a better vein of form. I think Manchester United are so up and down. 1 minute they have a good performance, then they really drop back. The pressure's going to be on at home. We know it's a massive game, and Arsenal never have an easy game at Old Trafford. That's for sure, because they really want to stick it to us Londoners, don't they? You know that. But I honestly think that United's at the back. I don't think they're good enough, and we need to expose that. I think De Gea's blown hot and cold. I think Maguire and Shaw haven't been up to speed.
I think Tellez will start, to be fair.
Yeah, Tellez, I think he's up and down as well. I'm not so sure on him. So I'm going 2-1 Arsenal. I'm going to choose to be positive on this one and go Arsenal 2-1. Sophie don't like it, but, listen.
This is what it is. You go back your team. I get it. At least you're not on the fence like these two.
No. Another worldie from Sophie. Is there any super chat, Dan?
We have got one which I'll leave to the end, actually, Casey. I know Soph's got a shoot in a minute, but it's kind of a little bit off topic. But we'll leave it till the end. So, yeah.
Sophie, let me ask you, what have you thought of Arsenal's new signings? Spent 150 odd million, signed a goalkeeper, a right back. Obviously, Ben White got signed. Tavares came from Benfica as a youngster. Ødegaard, etc. What do you think of these players and how they've gelled?
I think Ramsdale's been outstanding, to be honest. That's one signing that I'm a bit shocked by. Obviously, I thought he's decent and whatnot, but when you've just got rid of Martinez, I'm thinking, 30 million you spent on Ramsdale or something, and I'm thinking, why are they doing this? But to be fair to him, obviously he's keeping Leno out and whatnot, and he has made some quality saves for Arsenal. Tavares, I think, is blown hot and cold. I think obviously last weekend he played really, really well for you guys. A promising player. But yeah, I think, to be fair, you spent a lot of money, don't get me wrong, and I think you probably did overpay, but who am I to talk? You spent 80 million on Harry Maguire. Do you know what I mean? I think Ben White coming in, I think you needed to strengthen your defence massively and have done for a while now. And to be fair, you've signed an experienced centre-back in the Premier League, and he started well at Arsenal. And I think you needed someone like that. So I can't really blame the club for going out and spending on someone who's already in the Premier League, to be fair. So yeah, I think, to be fair, on the whole, I think decent. I still think Arsenal need to strengthen more. But I think you've got a good basis to build on. I think now, for the first time in a while, you can see Arsenal having a style of play coming. You can see a direction you're going in. Whereas for ages, I mean, everyone's obviously called them Banter FC and whatnot because of the inconsistency. I think finally now you can kind of see Arteta's moulding a team. You can see his project kind of coming into play. So yeah, I think she needs to be patient with the new players. But I think Ben White settled really well, and Ramsdale in particular, I think they've been outstanding.
And I've got one more question really for you. I know you're going to have to go soon, Sophie.
Okay.
What's the one position that you want to sign a player, and who would it be?
Declan Rice, centre defensive mid. I just think it's quality. You mentioned the only one since Euros who's really pushing on.
Yeah.
And I think if West Ham don't get Europe this season, I think that's where we should definitely be looking. I think we were crying out for a CDM now for at least 2 seasons. McFred, just don't do it. You get a Fred ache every weekend. It's my saying, Fred ache every weekend because it's so frustrating to watch. And I think Declan Rice can just do that role. Yeah, Fred ache. Hopefully I haven't got one on Thursday. That'd be nice. But yeah, I think Declan Rice would be my ideal signing.
Do you know McTominay? I rate him a lot, because when you look at McTominay, I mean, it's a worry when he's your best centre midfielder, mind you. But I do actually think that the kid deserves a lot of credit because he's not, what's he, 23, 24? He puts in a shift, and he's got the mentality and the passion and desire, I think, to be a future Man United midfielder. So I don't think he's the one. I think you're right. I think you're right. Fred is the problem. Fred ache. Like that.
Fred ache. Oh my God. What do you think of Fred ache, Lee?
Fred, well, it'd be better with Wilmer alongside him, wouldn't he? Like, you know what I mean? So there you go.
It's right, to be fair.
I actually think Fred ain't a bad. I thought he played well against Chelsea.
It's just frustrating.
I thought he did.
The midfield
too.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he played well, and then he messes up about with that one chance. Like when he got thrown the ball, and everybody then talks about that. But I thought his midfield play, and defensive side was very good. He gets about the box very, very well. But he's not what Man United. He's not a man. I think Roy Keane can be harsh, but he's not a Man United player. I think Calvin Phillips or Declan Rice are the sort of 2 players that they probably should be looking at.
I think if you look at like Rice and Phillips, as you mentioned there, comparing them directly to Fred's tenacity in there, winning the ball back is outstanding, like second to none. But when he gets the ball, it's so rash and just gives it away. Like, do you know what I mean? It's frustrating. I think to play that CDM, especially at somewhere like United, you've got to be a ball player as well. Yeah, and I just don't think Fred can do that. That's why McTominay's in there probably to assist with that side. But then you've got 2 players who, realistically, I'd rather drop one of them and have Donny playing. Poor Donny, who we've signed, who sat on the bench. Do you know what I mean? And I think if we have someone like Rice in there, a more disciplined player who can play as well, Fred just frustrates me. But he did play well against Chelsea. I'll give him his credit. And he does play well for Brazil, to be fair to him. But I think he needs more to be a United CDM.
Sophie, I mean, you've got so many. You've got Pogba,
Is he still going to be here though?
But you got. I'm only talking. But he's a United player now. So you've got Pogba, Donny van de Beek, and you've got good players. You've got top players. Yeah. Lingard. Lingard tore it up at West Ham when he went.
Yeah, unbelievably. He surprised me, didn't he?
Obviously, there's a new regime coming in. It's not going to suit. It's not going to suit everybody, is it?
Of course, yeah. No.
Do you think the likes of Donny van de Beek and Lingard can get minutes?
Obviously, I don't know what Ralph's thought process is. I think Lingard, no, I'll be honest. And I don't know why we didn't try and get some money for him when we could. Bringing him back, I think it was pretty obvious. He's not really going to get consistent game time. He's going to want to break into that World Cup squad. And his form at West Ham, you'd say he deserved that. But at United, he's just not going to get the minutes. So I'm a bit baffled why we didn't get rid of him when we could have got some money for him, to be honest. Pogba, again, I've just mentioned it. He hasn't signed his contract deal. If he does sign it now, we'll see, but it's unlikely he's going to sign it. So I think Pogba will be gone. And I think, to be fair, the Donny signing, I think he was a panic buy. I think because of the rumours of Pogba going, I think it was almost like we'll sign Donny as a backup for if Pogba goes. Pogba didn't go. And I kind of think we're stuck with Donny. Because obviously, for the price that we got him, obviously one of the young talents, one of the nominations for the Ballon d'Or, I believe, wasn't he as well, and that season. And I think he was a steal. But I'm sick of us buying players who aren't going to fit the system. I'm hoping Ralph can fit him into his system. I would rather, like I say, get rid of McFred, get Declan Rice in there, which then frees up 2 roles further forward. Then maybe someone like Donny could get in there. But Lingard, I think, no. Donny, I think we need to be a bit patient with. He hasn't really been given a fair shot.
Yeah, well, there was rumor going around that we were after him, Dan Lee.
I saw that.
Arsenal were looking at him. What's your thoughts on that, guys? Yeah, listen, I would. I think he's a really good player. But what's your thoughts, Dan?
You talk about Lingard, did you say? Jesse Lingard?
No, this is Donny van der Beek.
Oh, Donny van der Beek. Sorry, I didn't know who you meant. You
Yeah.
mentioned about 4 players there. I didn't know what one we're talking
Yeah.
about. No, I like him a lot, actually. I think he's a very good player. And the reason I believe this is a good appointment, and I really do think this is a good appointment, by the way, in Ralph Rangnick. I think Man United now are favourites for the best of the rest, 4th place, because I think they've got the squad and they've got somebody who has got the experience behind them of organising. I think Donny van der Beek's going to get a great chance at Manchester United. I don't think Lingard will, and I think Pogba's definitely not the future. But certainly for me, I think Donny van der Beek and Jadon Sancho are now going to come into the mix, and I think they're both going to do very, very well at Manchester United. So I think that, I'd have taken him at Arsenal, but for me, I think, moving forward, Manchester United are looking at themselves as favourites now for the 4th place spot. The only thing that we've got in our favour is that we're not playing 2 games a week like Manchester United. So hopefully we can keep our first 11 fitter. But for me, Manchester United have got some very, very good players. Got some weaknesses, 100%, and I think Sophie would agree with that. I think there's 3 or 4 positions there that need upgraded, at least, maybe even more than that. But certainly going forward, they've got some very good, pacey attacking players. And I think that if Ralph comes in with a style and a philosophy, which he's got discipline, he's got great recruitment, which I think is a massive bonus for Man United, because that's something they've definitely got wrong over the years. So I think Manchester United could be strong. And it would not surprise me if they do well, that he stays there. I really wouldn't be surprised if he stays there, because Manchester United have proven to stick with Oli. So why would they not prove to stick with Ralph if things go right, and then leave the Pochettinos over in PSG, who, let's be honest, isn't exactly setting the world alight, in my opinion. So, let's see what happens with Man United.
Yeah.
Lee, would you take Donny van der Beek?
You know what? I'll take Jesse Lingard on the form that he had for West Ham last season. I thought he was sensational. I never
He likes
really
dancing, to be fair, at your place, doesn't he, as well?
Yeah, he does like little Jay.
You watch your mouth, Soph.
Ain't she got to go yet? Ain't she got to go yet? What's going on?
She had to go at 10. Someone's told me to go at 10.
She's enjoyed herself too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, he played really, really well for West Ham. I have to say, and when you play that sort of form, you either come back and you smash it at Man United or you leave, and I don't understand why he had. And Donny the same, you know what I mean? I think that he goes out of a certain legend's daughter, you know what I mean? So he would like to have had him come back down to the Emirates.
That's why Lee wants him.
If that would have been, I don't know why Dennis allowed him to go to Manchester United anyway, but that would be I think he's not really had a great chance. Listen, I think he'll play. It's either out of him and Fernandes who plays on Thursday. And to be honest, if he is Donny, he needs to start performing. If he's going to be given a chance, he's got to start performing. When you go to a club like Man United, you've got to. There's no bidding in time with United.
Forget that. Yeah.
Forget that. You've got to hit the ground running. You've got to come in and do the business, and because that's what it entails. You know what I mean? There is I think, a different pressure on Man United as there is with Arsenal and teams like that to the others. But with Man United, there is always that pressure. There always has been for forwards over the years when I was growing up. You know what I mean? There was many a top class striker went to Man United and didn't work. You know what I mean? So it'd be he needs to do it. So it'd be very, very interesting. But listen, I just hope that Man United form doesn't go on to just a bit shaky coming up Thursday, and then with a bit of luck we'd be 8 points in front of them, so they can go on a little run after that, because they're going this way.
After Thursday. Sophie, just before we finish, obviously Michael Carrick is the interim. Then you got Rangnick, who's going to be the interim.
Yeah.
Rangnick, they're waiting on his work permit, so Carrick has to take it. Could that be a problem, do you think? Just for this game, or?
I wouldn't have thought so. Obviously, Carrick's had 2 games now, and to be fair, both performances, they haven't been mind-blowing, but they've been disciplined, and we've seen improvements in our organisation. I think Ralph being there as well, I believe he might be in the stadium watching, to be fair, and I think his presence alone, you'd think that'll give the players the kick up the arse that they need to perform for the new manager. So I'm hoping that him being there just instills, I don't know, a resilience and a passion for United players, because I do think mentality is a big one in this one, and I think whichever team turns up, quite frankly, I think could take all 3 points. So I think that this one is, with Ralph being there in the stadium, I'm just hoping that his presence alone will just lift these players.
And another question I want to ask Lee and Dan this, because what do you reckon happens if it doesn't work with Rangnick? Because Rangnick hasn't really managed a club like Manchester United before. And we have seen, haven't we? We've seen, the regime sometimes. It's all right doing it when the team ain't the biggest team in the world. Organising these players. But when you're talking about the multimillionaires and the big names that are at Manchester United, can it go wrong?
No. Listen, I'm a big thing for this. They wanted Pochettino when Solskjaer come in, but Ollie done so well in that they couldn't do it. They're not going to make that mistake again. They're not going to, don't matter how well he does. Whatever happens, Pochettino will be the manager of Man United come the beginning of next season, because that's the one that they want. That's the one they should have got after, even though Ollie had done really well. But because Ollie is a legend and he done so well, you know what I mean? And Rio Ferdinand didn't do him nowhere. They had to back him, didn't they? You know what I mean? Like Rio put his penny's worth in, like, you know what I mean? Good old Rio. And they went with him. But they want Pochettino. They can't get Pochettino at this moment in time. That's what they're going down that route. I'm telling you, if they could have got Pochettino, he would be the manager.
He'd be manager.
Yeah, they want him. They've made it clear. And what Man United, like most, what Man United want, Man United will get. That's who will be the next manager of Manchester United.
Dan, what's your thoughts on
that? I kind of am with Lee. I think they want Poch. Poch or Zidane was the rumour, but I think they do want Poch. But I look at the kind of good omens of this interim manager. If you look at what's happened at certain clubs, particularly at Chelsea, with Gus Hiddink, with Avram Grant was a cup winner and a penalty kick away from winning the Champions League. Di Matteo won the Champions League. Rafa Benitez won the Europa League. They were all interims. So sometimes it can work. And then you get the guy that you either have is available or you keep what you think has worked. So I honestly would not surprise me if this guy stays at Man United. I've heard great things. I've seen great things, not just with the recruitment, but because he's head of development now at Lokomotiv Moscow was. I think when you look at what this guy does in terms of his style and his kind of beliefs and his passion and philosophy, I think he's going to be perfect for what Manchester United need right now. And I think it's a really good thing. And I think if they are holding out for Pochettino, they've got the opportunity, haven't they, to kind of think if it doesn't go well for us, then Pochettino's available at the end of the season, because let's be honest, no one lasts at PSG more than a couple of years. And if it does work out for us, then we don't need to change it, because we're in the Champions League, which fourth place would be a good achievement for Manchester United this season. And if you can go to them to win something or get them into a final of a cup as well, then fair play.
Fair play.
I think it's going to be interesting. I really do.
Well, that was a bit weird.
Oh, no.
Hey, what's going on here? Disco. Right. Listen. Is there any super chats, Dan?
Yeah, we got a couple of super chats. One of them is from Raya24_96. We kind of answered this one, but it says, big up KC, big up the judge, big up Dan and Sophie. As an Arsenal supporter, what formation do we think we're going to go with? And should Arteta drop Aubameyang? I think we kind of answered that. We think we're going to stick with the same formation, and we think Aubameyang's going to play, and me and Kev think that Aubameyang's going to score. So I think we've kind of answered that one. But the one we haven't answered is it's one for all of us, really. And it's a question for the panel from Nipan Sharma. Thank you very much for your kind donation. It says, which goal did your team concede that made you sit back and say, fair play, what a goal? And I've been thinking about this, and I think I'll go first, and I think it's the worst goal to bring up on our Arsenal Man United podcast, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't think I've sat there and said, wow, fair play, and not felt a bit sick by the time I played it. Ryan Giggs in 1999. That goal was unbelievable. And I sat there and I thought, do you know what? As sick as I feel, and as much as I hated it, I did sit there with my dad and go, that's pretty good, wasn't it? There was like the last best back five in Europe at the time. And Giggs just went, I don't really care. I'm just going to take it around over you and stick it in the top corner. I absolutely hated it, but sometimes it's a goal that's against us. I don't really think I felt any of the other goals against us. I've sat there and thought, wow, as much as that one. So yeah, sorry to bring that one up, guys, on our Arsenal Man United preview, but it's the only
I
one I
know.
could think of that sticks out. I don't know who wants to go next. Lee, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. Just off the top of me, I don't know if you remember it, the one at Emirates when Wayne Rooney, when they hit us on the break,
On the break.
and they cut it back, and Wayne Rooney put into they went from our box and I thought, you know, when I look back at that, I went, oh yeah, that opened us up really well. So that will probably be the one that sticks up in my mind.
Sophie, which
Sophie's
one
got
for
to
you?
say, I know Sophie's going to go Thierry Henry. She's got to, hasn't she? She's got to go for that
Yeah.
goal. Come on.
That goal was just mad. Yeah.
Got
Thierry Henry, the little flick and the volley.
I know.
Yeah,
That was awesome, wasn't it?
it's quality goal. Can't deny. Quality goal. What was your favourite goals, though? Like in a United Arsenal fixture, what was your favourite goal?
Alan Sunderland.
Okay.
78
79.
cup final.
79.
79 cup final. That's my favorite. That's my favorite ever Arsenal v Man United goal.
Yeah.
I'm too young.
Gotta
I'm too
say.
young. I'm gonna have to go for Rocky. That was ridiculous.
Oh,
That
Rocky's
was
goal.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a goal.
To do that, against that midfield and put it over Shamark head, it's like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to see a better goal against United, so I'll go Rocky.
And in that kit as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think mine is probably the Rooney one on the counter attack that Lee mentioned. Just to be fair, that goal.
Yeah. It
What's
was,
that like?
it
Ahead
was
of Giggs.
a goal.
Ahead of
That's
Giggs.
really nice.
Really? Wow. I
Yeah,
thought it would have been
probably. To be
Giggs.
fair, like that, I'd say I probably
Wow.
watched that goal more. The Giggs one was obviously quality, and yeah, the fact that it was obviously in the cup and Vieira afterwards as well. Just seeing that, like, it was just class. But yeah, I think that goal for me, because Wayne Rooney was just in itself was just like an idol for me, and seeing the way that we counter attack, like. But when I watch it, it makes me sad because I'm thinking, why can't we do that nowadays? It's just totally different United that you see.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a sickener for me was that Cantona free kick. Could you remember?
Yeah.
Where he's just
Oh.
run up
He
to
was in the
hit
wall.
it and it's gone straight. I was in the
Yeah.
wall. It's gone straight past Dave Seaman. What a free kick that was. That's where, when you say fair dues.
Yeah. Do you remember that
nothing you
game?
could do.
Well, obviously, that game, Kev. We done all right in that game. We
Yeah.
stifled Man United and
Yeah.
Cantona
Come
he
up
was
with
a
the
player,
goods.
wasn't he? He was
Come
a
up with the
player.
goods. Come up
He
with the
came up with
goods.
the goods. And he had that bloody
I can't
arm.
believe-
in class,
He had
didn't
the strapping on his wrist, didn't he? Yeah.
I can't believe.
that was-
Yeah,
Oh, look
all
at that.
right,
Look at that.
all right,
All
there
right.
we
All right.
go. Yeah, all right.
Put it away.
And listen, and on that note, Sophie, we're going to get out of here. Sophie, thanks for coming on. And
Oh, yeah.
listen,
Cheers, so thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
on.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
that.
me.
we really hope you go
Nice
on a
one,
run
Soph.
after Thursday. Dan,
You know,
obviously,
I'm going to be in Spain, so I'm just at least I'm away out the country for a bit if anything bad happens. So
good.
yeah,
If it happens, we'll locate you. All right, Dan, Potsy, as always, thanks for coming on, mate,
Pleasure.
and joining me on chatting with Campbell. Lee, the main man, your channel. Thanks again for coming on.
No worries.
Really
And
appreciate
I
it.
shall see you Friday.
Yeah,
And,
see you Friday, man.
yeah.
See you Friday. And the fans, the people in chat and everything like that, people who are watching, thanks for joining us. What's your thoughts on who's going to win this game? And can Arsenal get that 3 points at Old Trafford? Listen, we'll see you next time and look after yourself, everyone.
Support for this video is brought to you by Manscaped. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code LJTV at manscaped.com.